He didn't say money is the root of all evil. He said that love for money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
And that's a complete different thing.
The whole thing. Yeah, all money is bad, But again, the person who sees clearly just sees this is a facility that I can use in my service to the Lord. It's a facility. So if I got a little, I can use that much. If I've got a lot, I can use that. It's more facility to do more things. But he's not loving the money. He's not attached to the money. All right. What are we talking about today?
I was thinking maybe money. Money.
Yeah, money. But I don't have any.
So there's nothing to talk about. Neither do I. So I don't know. I don't know anything about it either.
Two guys that don't have any money talking about money.
Man, it would be good, I just, my life would be perfect if I just had some money.
Yeah.
What would you do if you had a lot of money? No, it's,
buy all those goodies.
Yeah. Well, you do need some money. I mean, Slava has, you have a lot of goodies there and your technical equipment and everything. So.
Oh, we got a lot of money here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't have enough money to buy a drone yet.
Oh. Wow. Yeah.
We will. We'll get a drone soon.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, you'll have to send us some videos from the drone. That's amazing.
We will.
I just share some of the videos. Slava sent me some of the videos that you did or that you do, or some of the videos from your hikes, and people love them.
Oh, really?
I just posted one and it was perfect. Like I don't know if Slava was filming, but you could. So he was coming to the peak, and then he sighed and said something like, "Oh God," or something. Like he was so tired, and then was it you?
Was that you, Slava?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know those things.
One of the old ones when we get
The old one.
Yeah.
we got to the book rave peak.
Oh.
Yeah, you saw it on our Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyways.
He should have sent you the one when we went to this little lake up above Terrafield. It was full of 4-letter words.
4-letter words?
4-letter?
Yeah. 4-letter words. All cuss words are 4-letter words.
Oh, yeah.
Or, huh? All what words are 4-letter words?
Bad
All
word.
curse words.
Oh.
4-letter words.
So, no, I didn't. Yeah, think about that. That's true, though. Oh, I see.
Think about most of the curse words in English are 4 letters.
It's true. That's true.
So he had a few of those on the final moments.
What happened? It's just tough.
Well, it was just tough. It was just hard, really difficult. And, by that time, the feelings were coming out.
You see, that's how it is. You can't hide it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I was. Yeah. No. Seriously, send us some videos, and if you do some droning, and I'll be happy to do that. But
we gotta get your drone first.
Yeah.
And Slava's on restriction. He can't go in the mountains anymore.
Yeah, I heard something about that. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, you can still go with a drone. He can follow you. You can drive the thing for 10 kilometers if you can see it.
Yeah,
And then he can deliver lunch for you. put a little bag under the drone and
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
anyways,
Anyway,
I was gonna
money.
I was gonna get to the point that you do need money, but I think a lot of people have a difficult relationship, let's put it like that, to money, especially if you are interested in spiritual life or interested in some deeper things in life. It's usually it's a hard thing dealing with money, because you feel like I've always felt like it's kind of a it's not a conducive thing to have a lot of money if you're interested in spiritual life.
Well, that's yeah.
Yeah.
That depends, you know. But yeah, money is just energy. That's all. In fact, at the rainbow gatherings, when we were always going there every year, the common term for money at the rainbow gatherings was green energy. And so it was no money exchanged at the gatherings. Mm-hmm. It was barter system, trade system, except every night they, wow, my throat. Every night they had a communal dinner where they fed everybody and different groups had different kitchens, like we had a kitchen. And they would cook and then bring it to main circle, they called it. And then everybody could come there and eat for free, just line up, and they made a big circle with lines on each side facing toward the middle and some people would go around with big pots, and people had their plates and they just feed everybody as they went around. Anyway, and at the end of that, they passed the magic hat, and you could donate some green energy to the hat for the next night's dinner.
Yeah.
That's how the whole thing supported itself. You know. But yeah, that's what they call it. So anyway, the point is, money is just energy. So what you do with that energy, just like the energy in your body, right? I mean,
yeah.
What are you going to do with that energy you have? And that determines whether it's a good thing or not a good thing. And so that's where the spiritual understanding comes in. Because as you say, the general consensus among, quote, spiritualists is that money is bad.
Yeah.
And if you really want to be a high-level spiritual person, you know, then you have to give up money and become a mendicant and, you know, so on. And that's part of the Vedic system. The sannyas order of life in the Vedic system was the renounced order of life. And so those people, they actually did renounce all money.
Yeah.
And they were supported by the people in society that had money, which were basically the householders. You know, those were the people who were the merchants and the bankers and the farmers and the people who earned the money.
And they kind of supported the people who were...
They supported the students, the brahmacharis, the celibate students in their early years. And then when those brahmacharis or students became householders, then it was a part of the society to support the coming up students.
Yeah.
And then also there was another order of the society called the Vanapras status, where the householders, after the age of 50 in general, they left their household life and they went to the forest. And again, they had no financial support. So they were supported by the householders, you know. And the sannyasis were supported by the householders. But those members of society, the brahmacharis, the vanapras, and the sannyasis, lived a very, very simple, austere life. And support means they gave them some food if they came to their door, requesting something to eat. If the farmer was milking his cow and the sannyasi came and asked him for a cup of milk, he kindly gave it to him. It's not like they came and asked big money. Can you give me, a lot of money so I can go live in a nice apartment or something?
Yeah.
And buy some nice clothes and etc. But anyway, that's a system of society that is the Vedic perfect system for spiritual evolution.
Where everyone has a role and everyone knows what they're going to use the money for, or that energy, like you say, they know its purpose and it's...
Yeah. And it has a purpose, and it's a spiritual purpose.
Yeah.
So, even the great kings, in those societies, I mean, in the Vedic times, there was one ruling king who was actually the king of the whole planet. And he was incredibly wealthy.
Yeah.
And we have many examples of Maharaj Yudhisthira, Maharaj Parikshit, et cetera, et cetera. But what did they do with their wealth? Yes, they had big material facility, et cetera. But they supported the citizens. They supported, the brahmacharis, the vanapras, the sannyasis. They did all kinds of social programs for the well-being of the citizens. In other words, they just weren't a bunch of misers up there stockpiling a whole bunch of gold.
Yeah.
And they weren't greedy. They had what they needed, but they also provided society with what society needed. So as a result of this, the citizens voluntarily donated 50% of their income, voluntarily now, not the tax collector, says I'll put you in jail if you don't give me 50%.
Yeah.
But they voluntarily, with good faith and good intention, donated 50% to the government.
Yeah.
And the government, in turn, gave it back to the people. See, and that was a society that uplifted people spiritually, conscious-wise. There wasn't all this corruption, and cheating and trying to, exploit in every way you can, as many people as you can to just get a lot of money, and then use it for, nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
Money is a part of every system since time immemorable.
Yeah, it just seems like having money and being in that position of power, ultimately, always, inevitably corrupts people. It seems like there's no other example.
Well, it does if those people that it corrupts doesn't have a spiritual foundation.
Yeah.
And don't have spiritual principles and aren't making their purpose in life pleasing the Supreme Person.
Yeah.
If they're just materialists, it will absolutely corrupt people.
Yeah, I see.
In general. I mean, there's exceptions, but yeah. Because it just feeds on their material desires, and it makes it so their material desires can be fulfilled. And material desires, as we've discussed before, are unlimited. And so you fulfill this set of desires. What do they call it? Your bucket list?
Yeah.
That's on my bucket list. Okay, so you fill all the needs on the bucket list. You do this. But what happens? The bucket list just keeps growing. And so it's a never-ending endeavor.
Yeah.
And so after a certain time, and that time comes pretty quickly with people who have a lot of money, all their material desires to satisfy their senses in this way and that way and so on, they kind of run out.
Yeah.
And then it's not about that anymore. It's about power. Controlling people.
I see.
I'm the richest man in the world, therefore I can control people. I can control governments. I can control everybody. So if you look at the people on the top of the controlling hierarchy, they're not necessarily the elected officials who have been chosen by the people to do good for us.
Not at all.
They're
No.
the people with the money who control all those people, including how they get elected, who gets elected, and what they will do when they're elected, and what they'll say, and what programs they will promote.
Totally.
So it's just like that, you know. It's all about power.
Yeah.
You know, I got all the money I got all the cars, I got all the houses, I got all the airplanes, I got all the yachts, I got all that stuff. What I need money for power, control, you know. And so when you got $250 billion, how many beds can you sleep in?
That's
one
exactly
night,
what I was
you
going
know?
to say. Yeah, how many a year?
And how many wonderful dinners can you consume? And
How many bathrooms can you use in one day?
yeah, exactly. You know. So, you know, it's all about how your consciousness is.
Yeah.
So there's two categories of spiritualists. And one is the category of the renounced order. I mean, the guy who thinks money's bad. I don't want money. It contaminates you. Money's the root of all evil. You know, I don't want to get involved in any of that. And then there's the devotee of the Lord who sees clearly this is Krishna's anyway. This energy is God's property anyway. You know, he owns everything. And all the materialists do is just steal it from him to use it for themselves. I mean, what is the definition of theft? You tell me.
Well, taking something that doesn't belong to you and use it for your purposes.
Yeah. It's something that belongs to someone else, and you take it and use it for yourself.
Yeah.
That's what theft is.
Yeah.
So if everything belongs to God and you take it for your own purposes, that constitutes theft.
Unless it's with permission from that person to use it, which is
Well,
a
that's
whole
not
other
theft.
story. No,
That's
exactly.
not theft.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, if I got $1,000 in my house and I say you can go take that $1,000, that's not theft.
No.
And I can't take you to court.
No.
But if you break in my house and take that $1,000, I can. So, yeah. So God gives permission
Yeah.
to us to take what we need for our necessities in life. You know, he gives that permission.
Yeah.
What's that famous quote in Sri Upanishad? You can look it up. You're
Yes.
amazing at
That
looking
quote.
things up in
That quote. Yes.
one half a minute,
One should only.
1 second. Except it is quota that.
Yes, I actually have. I don't have that in computer. Just give me 1 second. I don't have it digitalized. You caught me out on that one.
Oh.
That's the one book I don't have digitalized. Do you remember which mantra it is?
And I don't, but it's pretty early on in the
I don't know. I read it.
Sri Upanishad.
I could read it approximately, but it feels like it's not going to be exactly the same.
Once you accept only those things that are set aside as his quota.
I thought it was early.
I thought it was too.
Wait. Oh, yeah, you're right. It was the first mantra. I just skipped it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Sri Upanishad Mantra 1. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong.
Yes, there you go. That's the perfect understanding of money, and everything else.
Yeah.
Everything within the universe is owned and controlled by the Lord. And a true spiritualist understands that. I mean, that's what he knows.
Yeah.
So one should accept only those things that are set aside as his quota. See? So every living entity has his quota. And some is very small and some is very large. You know, even amongst the animals, for instance, you know, the quota for an ant is very small, right? He just needs a few crumbs here and there, right? And an elephant needs a lot.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They eat tons of food, you know. But each one in the animal kingdom is taking that which he set aside of his quota.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and the animals are controlled by nature, and nature is dictating this.
Yeah.
You know. But when it comes to the humans, we step out of the natural order of nature and we try to become the owner and controller, including the animals. We control the forest. We control...
Exactly. And their quota, you know.
And their quota. You know, how many animals have gone into extinction because man destroyed their quota?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I don't know the figure now, but every year so many animals become extinct, different species.
Yeah.
Because man, in one way or another, is destroying their quota.
Yeah.
And so the true spiritualist understands that. All right, so let's take human quotas. All right, the king that I was referring to, his quota was large because that's his position. He's in that position, and therefore
he's distributing,
his quota is very, very large. And he takes that, but he does the proper thing with it.
Right.
You know, he uses it for the intended purpose. So that's all in connection with the Lord's allowing him to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as we were just discussing, the mendicants and the students and so on, their quota is small. You see, so they take that and they're satisfied with it. They're not trying to get more. See, what is it said? One should not accept more than his quota, knowing well to whom it belongs.
One should therefore not accept. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong.
Yeah. So if a person follows that, then the money that comes to him easily is obviously his quota. That's another thing that we learn in our Vedic teaching.
Well,
you know, that some people, money just comes to them.
I was just going to come to that, you know, because I don't know about you, but I mean, it's never been like that for me. So it's like I've never had money, and if they come, they disappear again very rapidly. Magically.
Yeah. I mean, me too. But I know some people that they don't have to almost anything they do. It just turns into gold.
Yeah.
You know, and you do the same exact thing, and it turns into mud.
Exactly. It's like you're not meant to have money, but that's
you're not meant to have it.
That's a reality, yeah. Like you're not meant to have it. It's not your karma in this life. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not.
So you don't over endeavor. That's what we're instructed. Don't over endeavor. If it comes easily, okay. If it doesn't, don't spend your whole life trying to make it happen. You know. I remember one friend of mine, of course, who started chanting, and he came with his wife, and they had at that time, I think, one child. This was years and years ago, and they had absolutely no money. You know, this was in Kauai, and you know they lived in a little mail truck that they converted into a kind of little motor home, and you know, and then you know. time passed. They had another child and another child, and they had to move out of their thing, and eventually relocated to California. But he was always struggling to make money. He had wound up with 5 kids. Mm-hmm. And he was always really, really trying to make money, but it just wasn't working. He'd make enough to survive, but that was it. And so finally, our spiritual master told him, you're never going to make a lot of money. Quit trying to work so hard to make a lot of money. It's not going to happen, So when he was initiated, he was given the name Tapas, which means austerity.
Oh.
Yeah. And after he heard that, then he just, okay. I mean, it's not that he quit work and just laid around like a bum, but he just, worked, and what came, and it made ends meet, and it took away all that anxiety and, the big agenda.
I mean, it's just I've experience of when I was not married, it was easier for me to feel that and think like that because it was only me. Like I wasn't worried for myself, but when I met Lynn and we got married eventually, it becomes a complete other thing, especially if you have a family and kids. Like you have to worry about it, because they have to have food on the table. So it feels like you're kind of forced into having to care about money, which you don't, but you have to because you have to feed them.
Well, you can care about it and do what you can do, but you don't have to worry about it. In other words, if you're totally dependent on the Lord, which we all are anyway, I mean, knowingly or unknowingly, we are, then, and if the wife is on the same page, especially the wife on the same page, then there won't be all that, unnecessary anxiety. So sometimes you might have more, sometimes you might have a little less, but nobody's starving.
No, it's true.
It's just about, the mental approach to the whole story.
Yeah.
And
but it's true.
And we both know someone who's made just unlimited money in crypto. And it just happened. He never had money his whole life, and then he got a little money, and it just turned into a lot of money. But of course those kind of things also can evaporate very quickly too.
Yeah. And it's funny how they like I have this. What happened to me once, I don't know if I told you, it's maybe like a year ago, I had, so this is a Norwegian krones, don't worry if you don't, anyone else, but if you don't know the value of a Norwegian, it's like 10 Norwegian krones is like $1. So I had 5,650 Norwegian krones on my bank account, like that I had set aside, and, I was considering whether I should donate this money to some cause. I think it might have been to this podcast or something, because I like to give some donations, and I was, but then this was a very difficult decision because this was the only money that I had, and I had saved up this thing, and I felt like in my heart I had the feeling that I should give this away, that I should donate this. That would be the best thing, and it would be provided for me. I didn't have to save this particular amount of money right now, but anyway, I did. I decided, no, I don't have so much, so I better save it. And then, as we were driving from our meditation center back to where I'm living in Tromsø, there are a lot of ways to go wrong in the traffic, because you have a lot of one-way streets, and then you come to one crossing and you can't go right, but you can turn left, and it was one of those crossings where you can't go left, but you can go right. And of course, I took a left turn. And the police caught me, and they gave me a fine, and the fine was 5,600 krones. So I was left with 50 krones in my bank account. And I just looked at it. I was like, "Wow, this is amazing! How can this be? 50 crowns difference, So enough money to have breakfast next day,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah, it's how it is, isn't it?
seems like if you don't use it for the right purpose, then that money was gonna be taken away anyway, like with my permission or not, with my
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of the material world. It's just like I'm trying to be the controller and the enjoyer. And
Yeah.
a friend of mine,
exactly.
he was just a person. He had a garage where he did high performance work on Toyotas, and so he had money coming in all the time, but he also had money going out all the time, But he always used to tell me, so his whole world was involved with money. I mean, really, he was one of those guys, And how much did I get? How much have I got to spend? It was just, and he used to tell me, money's not the problem. Money is the solution.
Okay.
And that was his thing about money. Money's not the problem; it's the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an interesting topic.
But yeah, and just one thing that Jesus said. I mean, I don't know if he did say that. I guess you maybe know more, but as far as I understood, he didn't say love. He didn't say money is the root of all evil. He said that love for money is the root of all evil.
Yeah,
And that's a complete different thing.
the whole thing. Yeah, and so that phrase just left out the love part.
Yeah, which turns it to something.
Turns it to something completely different. All money is bad, But again, the person who sees clearly just sees this is a facility that I can use in my service to the Lord.
Yeah.
It's a facility. So if I got a little, I can use that much. If I've got a lot, I can use that. It's more facility to do more things. But he's not loving the money. He's not attached to the money.
I have a purport from Srimad Bhagavatam that I have to read. It's just spot on. This is second canto, chapter 2, text 17 purport. One earns money for maintenance of the body, personal or social, but unless there is God consciousness, unless the body is being properly maintained to realize one's relation with God, all good efforts to maintain body and soul together are similar to the attempts of the animals to maintain the body and soul together. And then, and I'm going to add to that another thing, which is a purport. If our minds, senses, speech, money, and energies are thus engaged in the service of the Supreme, we cannot be considered to be existing in material nature. By virtue of spiritual consciousness, we transcend the platform of material nature. So yeah. Minds, senses, speech, money are engaged in the service of the Supreme. And unless we do that, then we're just living animal lives, keeping our body and soul together, unless we utilize what we have for God consciousness.
Yeah.
So.
And the animals don't have the choice, but we do.
All right. Yeah.
The animals, they just are controlled by nature, like we say, and they take what they can. I mean, the squirrel stashes away nuts for the winter.
Yeah.
And then winter comes and the squirrel's got his food supply. So, it's again, what is our consciousness? What are we trying to do with our life? If I'm trying to enjoy the world, I want more money. And I want more money, and I want more money. And if I'm just kind of getting through life, then I don't need so much. And there are people in the mode of goodness, for instance. See, we've talked about the modes of nature every lecture, I think.
Yeah. I have a quote about it as well, if if there's time. But yeah.
But it always comes back to that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mode of goodness, you're not trying to enjoy the world to the same degree. Yeah, to some degree, more enjoying nature and having a nice, healthy, peaceful life. But that doesn't necessitate a lot of material assets. In fact, they disturb that whole way of life. Whereas the mode of passion is where all of that other agenda comes in. Senses, I need to gratify my senses. The mind wants this. It's never satisfied. So I want more, and I want more, and I want more. And that's where it all goes, the greed and the lust and the resultant anger and we talk about it every time, but it's how it works. So there are people that are simple people. There's whole cultures that are, more simple than others. And they got what they got. They got a little food. They got some clothes. Yeah. They got a roof over their head. And they're okay with
enough.
That.
That's enough. Yeah.
That's enough. And they're the happiest people. I remember I went to India and with my good friend Tusta Krishna Das. And, I just observed the average person in India, in the different smaller villages or even in the bigger places, but especially smaller places. And they didn't have hardly anything materially. They just had a very simple way to live. Their house was way less than extravagant, basically, a roof. Many didn't have running water in the house. They had to go to a common tap on the corner to fill up buckets and bring it home. And that's often where they wash their clothes or in some river or stream or small little pond or something. Very, very meager existence, and just rice and chapatis and dal and, some vegetables but they were happy. This is the point I'm getting to.
Yeah.
I remember this one person. He was a Brahmin, which is, a certain social class in the Vedic system, and he was working in one of the temples in Jagannath Puri, the Jagannath temple, really. Your hat. But anyway, he was very, very friendly, very nice. We met him, and he acted as a guide and showed us some very wonderful holy places. And so he invited us to come to his house for dinner. There was 4 of us, Tusta, Don, Andy, and myself. And when he invited us in, we go in, and the house is absolutely just so simple. And he had, I think, 3 children, and they were all dressed up in the nicest little white dresses. Oh. The guy had the little boy had on, but the dresses and the pants were very clean, but very worn. Oh. And his wife, very simple, just a very simple sari. And he had on this white shirt that had so many patches on it, like the elbows and, different places. Clean, very clean, but very worn.
Yeah.
And they invited us in, and the table was just a table, and I think we sat on the floor, and, it was, they brought in very simple food, just chapatis, rice, dal, and maybe something else. But they were all so friendly and so happy and so smiling, and you could just see they weren't worried about, their material inadequacy. They were very, very peaceful, very calm, and that included the wife and the kids.
Wow.
And I was just saying to Tusta, man, look at how simple these people live and how happy they are. And you see the kids out, they didn't have toys, just in general in the village, the kids. They had a stick and an old bicycle tire or something.
Exactly.
And they're just rolling it, or they're throwing some cans back and forth. And they didn't even have a ball. They just had, some cans or something.
Make do with what you have.
Plastic bottle or whatever. And they're just laughing and joking and running and playing. And, and it was very impressive, compared to the Western world where you got to have really expensive everything.
Bigger toys, expensive toys.
Bigger toys, and, whatever. And so anyway, that's mode of goodness, but the mode of passion, that's a whole different story. So in India, you've also got the businessman, and, he's trying to make more rubles, and he's, really aggressive in his trade, or he's, higher level, and he's exploiting the lower workers and whatever. It's always that way, So, and mode of ignorance people, they're just so dulled out, they don't care, They're just dirty, and they just look at this. I mean, the personification of that on the extreme level is all the homeless people in America. I mean, that is so unfortunate, And if they got whatever they got to do to get their drug fix for the day, they'll do that. They'll steal, they'll sell, cans from the trash, they'll do whatever just to get that. And that's it for them. And if you gave them a lot of money, they just give it away to the drug dealer, immediately. If somebody didn't steal it from them first. So, you're going to have all levels of consciousness, but we need to go to the spiritual consciousness, which is reflected in that Sri Shapanapad verse that you read, That's the truth. Everything is owned and controlled. Everything in the world, in the universe, is owned and controlled by the Lord, And the devotee tries to develop that consciousness to see that, to understand that, and then to the degree they can, convince their mind to do so, they should live like that, and they'll be greatly rewarded for that. They'll be greatly rewarded for that. The story of Sudama Vipra in Sri Upanishad. He was a simple Brahmin, and he and his wife were so poor, they didn't even have enough to eat. It described that he was physically actually very thin, and his wife as well, because they just didn't have any other facility, but he was okay with that. But his wife was worried about him being so thin and so on. And so she told him, "You're a friend of Krishna. You went to school with him. You were classmates. Go to see him, And so he didn't want to do it. He was reluctant because she wanted him to ask Krishna to help.
For money and,
Yeah, a little help and getting by kind of thing. He didn't want to do that, but he agreed finally, because wives have a way of convincing husbands to do whatever the wives want them to do, over time. And so he agreed, but he knew he had to take a present to Krishna, because you would never go to see such an exalted personality without some gift. And he told his wife, "What can I give?" And all she had was some chipped rice, which is the lowest level of rice, just the broken pieces. And so anyway, she wrapped it up in a little cloth, and so he went to see Krishna. And Krishna, when he saw him, he's just got on barely enough clothes to cover his body, because that's all he had, and he's all thin and everything. Krishna, just came up and hugged him and was so happy to see him. And all the the servants and the associates of Krishna were so surprised. Who is this person who's obviously just, on the lowest level of, material material living?
Uh-huh.
And Krishna is so happy to see him and embracing him and, just taking care of him so wonderfully. And of course, he fed him very sumptuously and everything, And so he said, "Oh, I know that you brought me a gift. Can you please, give me the gift that you brought for me?" And he took out this little chipped rice gift wrapped up in a cloth. And Krishna opened it. "Oh, this is so wonderful." And he started eating it, Just, he was so happy that he brought him this. And anyway, they had a wonderful meeting. And so Sudama Vipra was so happy that he got to finally be with his friend Krishna. He was just on cloud 9, as they say. And he's just in this spiritual glow, and he goes back home. But when he arrives at home, instead of his just bare bones cottage, there's a palace, and there's maid servants, and there's lakes, and there's swans, and there's, opulence on the highest level. And his wife comes out, and she's wearing the most beautiful, high level sari, and, all the jewelry, and et cetera, and wow, he just didn't know if he was even in the right place.
And
and that was it. Krishna just provided him with more opulence than he could imagine, but it didn't change him at all. His consciousness remains the same.
And he didn't ask.
And he didn't ask. He never asked anything. He was supposed to ask, but he couldn't. He just couldn't do it. And he got his wish fulfilled. It wasn't even his wish, really. It was his wife's wish. And it was fulfilled beyond all expectation.
But that just shows we need to just rely on that God knows our heart and he knows what's best for us. So if he wants us to be rich, and he knows that's going to be because it's not going to be a hindrance for us, and we're not going to be drawn away into material consciousness by that money, then perhaps we have money. And isn't there a saying that anyway, when God likes you, he gives you money. Like when he wants to, he can give you money. When you like him, he takes it back. He takes it away.
That's almost correct.
You can maybe say it.
Yeah. When God likes you, he gives you everything. When you like, I can't even remember.
Isn't it like
it's 3 parts.
When God likes you, he gives you money. When you like him, he takes it away.
It's not money. It's just everything. It's not money.
Oh, okay. Material.
We're on the topic of money, but it's not money. Okay. When God likes you,
but then the third part is when you
I
love
know
him.
What it is.
Yeah.
When God likes you, he gives you everything. When you like God, he takes it all back.
Yeah.
When you love God, he gives it all back to you. Yeah, that's what it is. And then you love God, so you give it all in his service. You use it all for him.
Exactly.
Yeah. So money can be the root of evil, but it can be also the root cause of your spiritual connection with God. It can be the best thing. I can give, because it's hard to give up money, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
If you ain't got any money, it's easy not to give, there's no problem. But if you've got money, it's hard to let it go.
Definitely. Wow.
As you gave your little example.
Holding on.
So if you get money, and especially if it's a lot of money, and you do just let it go, then that's a great spiritual boon.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really a facilitator in your relationship with God
Yeah.
and your spiritual master. Because how are you going to give it to God? You give it to your spiritual master. That's the connection. If you have a spiritual master and he is, the true representative of the Lord, and you get money, you give it to him because you know he knows what to do with it.
Right.
You don't really know, or you don't know how he wants to use it. Maybe you've got some ideas, but well, maybe he has another plan for that money.
Right.
So you give it to him. And then he may say, well, okay, you can implement your plans, or he just takes it and does whatever he does with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not up to you any longer. It's not yours anymore.
Right.
You've given up ownership.
Exactly.
Which is, relieves you from all anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Money's a hassle. Because if you don't have any, it's a hassle. And if you've got it, it's a hassle because now you're trying to protect it. You don't want to lose it. What am I going to do with it? Am I going to invest it? If I invest it, is it going? And you invest it and you lose. It's a hassle anyway. Or somebody's trying to steal it. How am I going to protect it? The government's going to get it with taxes. You're always trying to protect it.
Yeah.
So if you don't have it, it's a hassle because if I don't have any money, what am I going? And if you got it, it's an even bigger hassle. Unless you understand who it belongs to, and then you just take care of it the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
I guess we chant a little bit if you don't have any final. There, I have more quotes, but I always have more quotes than we have time to speak about, so that's okay. I just
when you got access to the whole Vedic literature, there's unlimited quotes.
I have one short advice for anyone feeling that you want to save money. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 28 in purport. It says that money can be saved by avoiding undesirable association. So, if you hang out with the wrong people, then, money is easily spent.
Mm-hmm.
So,
my mom had a saying, and I heard it, unlimited times. A fool and his money are soon parted. Yeah. and she often said, a fool and his money are soon parted. So, yeah, a wise person, that's how it should be.
he knows how to, yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah. Okay, so we could go on and on. It's always something that pops into your mind as the discussion unfolds.
Exactly, yes, there is.
And that's the point of this podcast. One of the points is several, of course, but one is things come up and you just can, deliver it, so to speak.
Yeah.
You can make it known.
Yeah.
Well, I have a mantra that is a mantra that you know.
Really?
Gauranga Haribo. We might add in Nitai Gaur and Nityananda.
All right.
Nitai Gaur and Nityananda.
Nityananda.
Nityananda, Nitai Gaur.
Nitai Gaur, Nityananda. Yeah.
So anyway, if that comes up, you know what it is. Gauranga, Gauranga Haribo. Gauranga, 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 Nityananda, 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 Gauranga, Gauranga, Nityananda, Nityananda, Gauranga, Gauranga, Nityananda, Nityananda, Gauranga, Gauranga, Nityananda, Nityananda, Gauranga, Gauranga, Nityananda, Nityananda, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Gauranga, Haribo, Gauranga, Haribo, Nityananda, 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 Haribo, Gauranga, 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 Haribo, Nityananda, 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 Haribo, Gauranga, 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 Haribo, Nityananda, 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 Haribo, Gauranga, 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 Haribo, Nityananda, 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 Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, 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 Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Hare Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, 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 Haribo, yeah, Hare, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo. nitai go haribo. Haribo, nitai go haribo.
Haribo, nitai go,
Haribo,
Haribo, nitai go, Haribo.
Goranga, Goranga, Goranga Haribo. Goranga, Goranga, Goranga Haribo.
Goranga, 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 Haribo. Goranga, 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 Haribo.
Goranga, Goranga, Goranga Haribo. Goranga, Goranga, Goranga Haribo.
Goranga, 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 Haribo.
Hare Haribo.
Goranga, 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 Haribo.
Goranga, Goranga, Goranga Haribo. Goranga, Goranga, Goranga Haribo.
Goranga, 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 Haribo. Goranga, 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 Haribo.
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 Goranga Haribo.
Goranga, Haribo.
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 Goranga Haribo.
Goranga, Haribo.
Goranga Haribo.
Goranga, Haribo.
Goranga Haribo.
Goranga Haribo.
Haribol.
Haribo.
Okay, so there you have it.
Yeah.
Are you live? I don't hear you, Ruben.
Oh?
Oh, now I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I am here.
Okay, so yeah, money, money.
Money, 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 the two must be funny. Yeah, a lot of songs about money, money and love. I think those are the two things people
There you
sing
go.
most about.
Yeah. I need money. That's all I want. There's a song like that.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Thank you.
put money in the bank, your spiritual bank account. That's the real money.
Mm.
Your spiritual asset, your spiritual consciousness. That's the real wealth.
Exactly.
So, like you put, money in the bank. Oh, that's adding to your bank account. So everything we do spiritually, the mantras we chant and the activities we pursue in, trying to please the Lord, etc. That's money in the spiritual bank account.
Yeah.
So build that up, and then when you leave the body, you'll have a big bunch of money to take with you. It'll go with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where the money is.
Well, thank you, Balakhilya.
Okay, so yeah, I guess time is up. There was one little thing that I remembered along the way and then forgot, but the idea is we should be like a bank teller. A bank teller takes in money all day long, handling money, taking it in, giving it out.
Yeah.
So through the bank teller's hands may go hundreds of thousands of dollars in any given day. See? But at the end of the day, she's not worried about it. How much did I take in? How much did I give away? She's not worried about somebody, breaking into the bank and robbing it that night. She just goes home and sleeps. It had nothing to do with her, So she's not attached to the money. She knows it's not my money. I'm just facilitating the use of it. I'm taking it, I'm putting it where it needs to go, I'm taking it from where it was and giving it out.
Exactly.
No anxiety. You see? So if we understand this is not our money, I take in what's given to me, I use it properly, I put it where it needs to go, I take it, I give it back, whatever, then yeah,
There's no problem.
there you go. That's a good way to view it. Can we do it? Well, that's not so easy.
If we can.
Can we do that? Can we view it like that? That's not so easy. You know, we're just giving you ideals here. You know, there has to be some ideal to look at.
But that's, yeah. The way at least we know where to strive for, you know, where to go towards, what to strive for. Yeah.
Okay, so thank everybody for watching. If you like what we're doing, share it and subscribe.
Yes. Do that.
If you want to support our channel, thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the best way to support it, just sharing it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you, Balakhilya.
Okay.
And-
Thank you, Ruben, and we'll see you next podcast.
Yeah.